Hey guys, Big Films 39 here with my movie review of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So, this movie is the fifth installment in the Mission Impossible franchise, and to give you my very quick thoughts on the rest of the movies, 1 and 2 I really don't enjoy. I find both of those movies very boring. 1 had a very convoluted plot, 2 was very boring and just had an uninteresting plot. 3, though, is where it all turned around for me, made me a fan of the franchise. This really set the tone for 4 and 5, making the series really about the action, the great stunts, and it just became a great action adventure franchise. And then 4, I think, top 3. And for me, the most memorable and most iconic action and stunt scenes were in Ghost Protocol. So this is really my favorite of the franchise. I like it more than Rogue Nation. I'll explain why in this video, but this to me is the best of the Mission Impossible franchise. And Rogue Nation definitely goes for the same tone. You can see that easily in the trailers. A big over-the-top action-adventure movie. You see that plane scene in the trailers over and over again. They even showed a really brief making of that plane scene, and you really get a sense of how dedicated Tom Cruise is to his role. He gets his whole body into it. He does dangerous stuff to pull off these stunts, and you really have to commend him for that. And he definitely, does the same thing in Rogue Nation. He has a lot of good action scenes. Looks like he does his own stunts, has charisma, and Tom Cruise is just as good in Rogue Nation as he is in any of the other Mission Impossible movies. But for me, Rogue Nation, while it had good action scenes throughout, there's no shaky cam to be found in this movie. The movie looks really good, nice wide camera angles, good wide shots of the action where you can take everything in. It didn't have those iconic action scenes and those really amazing stunts that you got in Ghost Protocol. All of the action scenes here just kind of blended together. There was nothing memorable that really stood out. In Ghost Protocol, you have the Dubai Tower scene, which seems to have become everyone's favorite stunt scene of the Mission Impossible franchise. And I think it's because this movie, Rogue Nation, was really more story-driven, and that is a good thing because it is the most impressive and the most sound plot that we've gotten in any of the Mission Impossible movies. At the beginning, things feel a little slow, but there's some twists and turns by the end that really make the storyline feel clever. It makes it feel relevant and important, and I did enjoy the storyline here. That's really where the suspense comes from in this movie. There was one heist scene that really had me on the edge of my seat, but not because of the stunt work, just because of what happened in the scene. But that was the trade-off for me, is that in Ghost Protocol you didn't have as captivating or engaging a plot, but the action scenes were really stand out and you remembered them, and that's what really made the movie. And that's what I prefer, just being a fan of action movies and the action genre. So this movie lacked a little bit in that aspect, but the plot was really good. Better than the other movies. Nothing amazing, but I just felt they really made an effort to make a sound plot. That was easy to follow, didn't have a lot of plot holes, and was clever without being convoluted. So that's the good thing about this movie. My other complaint is that Rogue Nation, it just felt, comparing it to Ghost Protocol, it just felt like they were forcing everything from the cinematography to the action scenes. It just felt very forced and like they were really trying to craft a perfect movie. It felt like they were really trying to make this movie great, whereas Ghost Protocol, the action scenes, the cinematography, it just came off as kind of natural and effortless. Again, the action movies in Rogue Nation, they just kind of blend together. You have some shootouts, some car chase scenes, which are filmed really well and really nice, but they just feel a little too tight. I think in Ghost Protocol you had a lot more extended hand-to-hand combat scenes. You had the Dubai Tower scene. It feels a little more human and just more engaging, more memorable, more interesting. It didn't feel like they were, really trying to craft every single aspect of the action scenes in Ghost Protocol. It felt like there was more room for kind of human error, and it just felt a little more cookie cutter to me in Rogue Nation. And Rogue Nation definitely had more of that new sleek digital look that a lot of movies use today. It really looks similar to the new 007 Spectre trailer, where everything is kind of really dark and gritty, and made for a really good looking movie. It added to the suspenseful tone of the plot, but again, I felt Ghost Protocol was more fun because it didn't have quite that dark, sleek look to it. But other than that, Rogue Nation is still a good, solid movie. In Rogue Nation, you get Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise's character. He's kind of off on his own, doing his own thing for most of the movie. And then you have Jeremy Renner's character, Vingo Rames' character. They're doing their own thing, and they don't meet up until much later in the movie. And that's another thing that I think made this movie less enjoyable than Ghost Protocol. In Ghost Protocol, you have the team together, you have the unit, you have Paula Patton in there, and they're all working together. It feels really fun, and you get to see all these people pulling off great stunts and great action scenes. And in here, it seems like most of the movie was just about Tom Cruise's stunt work. It was him doing a lot of isolated action scenes, and you didn't get the rest of the team involved, so it didn't feel as fun in that sense for me as Ghost Protocol. But those complaints are really just me saying that I prefer Ghost Protocol to Rogue Nation. But as a standalone movie, Rogue Nation is still a lot of fun. It's a good spy thriller. You have decent action scenes throughout, and again, I think the best plot of any Mission Impossible movie. So I'm going to give Mission Impossible Rogue Nation an A-. I think it's a really solid film. I think you should definitely go see it, and if you like 3 and 4, I think you'll definitely like this movie. If you haven't enjoyed any of the Mission Impossible movies before this point, I don't think it does anything here to make you a fan of the franchise, but solid movie. Just good in all aspects, but to me it does not top Ghost Protocol, and that's just my I prefer Ghost Protocol, but still a solid movie and A-. Alright guys, thank you for watching. That's my movie review of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe. I will be back next week with my review of the Fantastic Four. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.